back. I just saw my cat go running out. Was she on the screen? Okay, we'll just give ourselves a couple of minutes, get some folks in here with us. Again, we're going to use props today. We'll have a strap. If you don't have a strap, you can use a belt or a tie or a long scarf. I don't think we'll be closing it. We'll just be using it for support, so that should be fine. A couple of blocks. Instead of blocks, you can use a chair. Oftentimes put your hands on, some books, something like that. And then a bolster, and if you have a bolster, you can roll up a blanket. The bolster is really optional. It's for our rest time, our shavasana at the end of class, so that's up to you. Strap, blocks, and bolster. A couple other things if you haven't taken a class with me before. Let's see, when we do breathing exercises, if they don't feel right at any point, just go ahead and return to your natural breath. Yoga is a practice, so if you're like pushing yourself to 100%, dial it back to 80-90%. We're not trying to hurt ourselves. We're trying to just feel our space in our bodies. So this is an opening your creativity class. You probably already know tomorrow night is a full moon. It's a full moon in Leo, which is a creative moon. So this class has some elements to open your creativity. We're also going to be opening and spending a little time focusing on our Sacral Chakra, which is also where a lot of our creativity comes from. So those are some things that we'll be focusing on. At the end of class, I'll be sharing this link and some prompts, some journal prompts in my Vagabond Zen group. So if you're not in the group yet, that link will either be in the header above, or I'll put it in the comments somewhere so that you can come join the group, and then you can find the journal prompts in there to just sort of further this practice today or tomorrow when we have the full moon. So if you're ready, also if you have any questions or comments or concerns, you can put them in the comment box below. I can't see them from where I'm sitting, but I will definitely go back through the comments later on to answer any questions you have or talk to you about that. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's find ourselves seated comfortably. If you like to cross your legs, I like to sit up on a bolster. If you want to fold your blanket, sit up on a blanket. It's good for me to raise my hips a little bit. If you're comfortable just sitting on your mat, that's totally fine. Find yourself in a comfortable pose. Let's take a nice deep inhale together and exhale through our mouth. Let's take an inhale together. And we're going to exhale, bring our chin towards our left shoulder. While we're over here, we're going to breathe into the space that we're opening up on the right side of our neck. Or just take a couple of breaths here. On your next inhale, bring your chin back to center, and we'll exhale our chin over towards our right shoulder. on your next inhale, we'll come back to center. And exhale our chin towards our chest. And we'll inhale, chin back up to center. Exhale, release. We're going to do something fun with our arms called railroad arms. You remember when you were a kid, you did the chicka, 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 chicka. We're going to do that. Yeah, we're doing that. We don't have to do the chugga, chugga, chugga parts. But just on your own breath, we're going to start smaller circles, and then as it feels comfortable, you can go ahead and make bigger circles. And we're just going to run our little train here. Create a little bit of energy, warm us up a little bit. And on your next exhale, you can just slow down and bring your hands to your lap. And then take our right hand, place it on top of our left hand. Bring our thumbs together so they're touching at the top. And then we'll rest our hands in front of our lower belly. We're going to do a breathing exercise. And again, if this doesn't feel right at any point, just stop and take your natural breath. I'll show you an example first. We'll take a deep inhale. And then we'll exhale in short bursts through our mouth. And between those short bursts, we'll inhale a little bit naturally. This is going to move a lot of your body, and it might feel a little strange, and it'll definitely look a little strange. It's totally okay. So I'm going to show you an example, and then we'll do it together. Let's do that together. A nice long inhale and short burst exhales. Inhale. Go ahead and return to your natural breath. Just take a moment here. You can close your eyes or lower your gaze at any point if that feels comfortable. Go ahead and release your hands, bring them to your lap. We're going to grab our blocks. We're going to place our blocks behind us to the side a little bit. You may or may not need them, but they're there if you do. We're going going to do a twist to our left. So we're going to inhale and then move our right hand to our left thigh. And as we exhale, twist to the left and bring our hand to the block behind us. So again, we'll inhale and exhale. You can position that block wherever it feels comfortable. You can make it higher, that's comfortable, lower, hand to the floor, whatever works for you in your twist. On your next exhale, if it feels comfortable, you can turn your head towards the back of the room. On your next inhale, bring your head back into your twist if you had turned it further. And then let's inhale, untwist our whole body towards the front, and we'll exhale, twist off to the right side. And again, if you'd like, on your exhale, you can turn your head towards the back of the room. And bring your head back to the side. And let's inhale ourselves, untwisted back to center. And exhale, release. Okay, you can go ahead and move your body around, your shoulders around. Just sort of shake out that movement a little bit. We're going to bring ourselves onto our back. Now you're going to want to have your strap close by for you to grab, because you'll want that while we're on our backs on our mat. If you're close to a wall like I am, you'll want to move out a little bit. I'm a little too close to the wall for this side of my body, but that's okay. So with this strap in my hand, I'm just going to gently bring myself down onto my back. I'm going to bring my right foot up so my foot's on the mat. And my left foot, I'm going to put in my strap. So now I'm supporting the front of my toes. Really the balls of my feet, not really on my toes. And using the strap to work my toes towards my forehead. Obviously my toes are not going to get to my forehead, neither are yours. It's just the direction that we're moving. We're looking for a nice long stretch in the back of our leg. If you're comfortable, you can stay right where you are. If you'd like to lay the right leg down on the mat, that will increase the stretch some. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. But we're going to breathe into that space we're creating in the back of our leg. Check in with your grip on your strap. We're just using the strap to guide our foot and our leg. We're not pulling hard. It's not a death grip. It's guidance. Let's go ahead and put the straps in our left hand. Our right arm, can stretch our right arm out by our side into a T. And then we're going to open our left leg and drop it towards the floor. Now, if you're able to get yourself all the way to the floor, no resting. Bring it up just a little bit so you're hovering over the floor. And if you don't get anywhere near the floor, that's totally okay too. Breathe into the space that we're creating in our inner thigh. Opening and working these muscles. Make sure your hips are both on the mat. Your shoulders are on the mat. And we're going to inhale our leg back up to center. Just switch the straps into our right hand, and we'll exhale the leg across our right body. I'm going to slide out just a little bit so you can see what that looks like. So I get that left arm out in a T, and then exhaling the left leg across the right side of my body. I can drop that right leg down onto the mat if I had it up. It's okay in this circumstance to have my left hip up off the floor, off the mat, but I do want to keep my shoulders on the mat. So looking for a nice stretch on the side, left side, in this case of my body. And let's inhale our leg back up to center. We're going to open those straps up, one in each hand. We're going to bring the right foot up to meet the left foot and bring the left foot back down to the mat. And we're going to work those toes of our right foot towards our forehead. Now let's bring the straps into our right hand. We'll take our left arm, stretch it out like a T, and we're going to open our right leg towards the right side. Again, we want to keep our hips and our shoulders on the mat in this pose. leg back up to center. Switch the straps into our left hand. Bring our right hand out in our T. And then we'll exhale our right leg off to the left side. And we'll inhale our leg back up into center. Release the strap. Exhale your legs to the mat. And just take a nice breath here. As you take a breath, I'm just going to scoot myself back onto my mat. Okay, we're gonna work on doing a pigeon pose, reclined pigeon pose. We're gonna take our right leg and our ankle, cross it over our left thigh. Now, if you'd like to use your strap again on this, you can weave your strap behind your left thigh and use that. Or if your hands go behind your left thigh, you can do that way too. But once we have that right leg crossed over our left thigh, we're going to use our strap or our hands and just lift that left leg off the floor. And we're working on a nice stretch in our hip on the right side. So you can use the strap, bring your hands behind your thigh, whatever works for you. Don't forget to breathe into the space you're creating in your hips. And exhale, release the left foot to the floor, and you can lower your right foot as well. If you're using your strap, go ahead and put your strap around behind your right thigh. And then we'll go ahead and we'll cross our left ankle over on top of our right thigh. And let's pull our strap or our hands into our behind our right thigh and get a nice stretch in our left hip. And go ahead and release the right leg, both feet to the mat. And you can just move your knees back and forth just a little bit. Get some motion in those hips. I'm going to do one more pose lying down with our strap. We're going to bring our feet up into the air, our strap around our feet. Our feet are going to be touching each other. The soles of our feet are going to be touching each other. And we'll use our straps to just bring our heels towards our groin area. Get a nice stretch here. And you can gently release your feet onto the mat. And make your way back up to sitting. And we're going to meet in a standing pose. Ooh, crunch, crunch. I'm going to have you get your blocks. Put them at the top of your mat, the short end. We're going to use those in a little bit. So let's take a nice wide stance together. And do a nice, lovely forward fold. If you got a belly, you can go ahead and lift that and exhale. You can push that belly through your thighs, hands to your mat. You want to use your blocks in here. They should be handy. You can use your blocks. If you're using your blocks and you have bend in your elbow, just make the block a little bit lower. We're just going to hang here. If you'd like to bring your forearms up together, sort of cradle. Let your head hang heavy. And on your next inhale, we'll slowly make our way back up. So we have our blocks here at the top of the mat. Let's bring our left foot between the blocks. We're going to have a little bit of a wider stance here. Our back heel is going to line up with the heel of our front foot. And our right toes are going to be out at about 30 degrees. Let's bring our hands to our hips. Turn our torso towards the short end of our mat, pointing with our left toes. Let's inhale together. Exhale, bend the left knee. We're going to inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend. Just keep working on that dynamic movement on your own breath. And some things to keep in mind while you're doing this. You bend your knee, Your knee should be lined up over your ankle. If your knee is further forward, then you may want to consider widening your stance. If your knee doesn't get to your ankle, that's okay. That's not a big deal, but you don't want to go past it. On your next exhale, we're going to go ahead and stop with our bended knee. If you're comfortable here and you feel well balanced, you can stay here. Some other options, we can bring our hands to heart center. We can bring our hands up over our head. If your hands are up overhead, on your next exhale, just gently lower your shoulders down your back. Create some space for your neck and your ears. On your next exhale, you can bring your hands down to your hips. We're going to forward fold at our hips, over our front leg, bring our left forearm to rest on our left thigh. And then we're going to open our right shoulder up to the front of the room. If you feel good here, go ahead and stay. If you'd like to raise your right arm up over your head, stretch up towards the sky. And bring that right hand back to your right hip. We're going to turn our torso back towards the mat. Both hands are going to come down into those blocks that we placed earlier. A nice flat back here. Again, if you have bend in your elbows, you can lower those blocks wherever you feel comfortable. And let's work that front leg towards straight. If you get there, great. If you don't, great. It doesn't really matter. And bend that front leg back. And we'll use that forward thigh to gently inhale our way up. Turn our toes towards the long way of our mat as we exhale into a forward fold. Take some nice deep breaths here in your forward fold. If you'd like to bring your forearms up and hang, you can do that. Just inhale our way back up. Exhale, release. Go ahead and shake out your legs, your neck, the shoulders. Find some space. You're doing a good job. I'm going to move my blocks to this side. You can keep yours where they are. I just don't want to be my back side when we do the right side. Okay. Let's go ahead and step our right toes between those blocks. We'll step back again with the left foot. I only have one left foot. Left toes out 30 degrees, hands to our hips, and we're turning our torso the same direction as our right toes towards the short end of our mat. So you can inhale together and exhale, bend that right knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Keep working on your own breath here. And on your next exhale, go ahead and stay with the bent knee. And again, you can leave your hands on your hips, bring them to heart center or on up overhead. And we're going to take a few breaths here. And exhale, left hand to your hip, right forearm to your right thigh, opening that left shoulder up to the room, and breathe. And again, if you'd like to raise that left hand up, you can do that, fingertips towards the sky. And we're going to go ahead and come on down, torso towards the mat, hands to your blocks. And take a breath here. If you'd like to work that front leg, that right leg towards straight, you can do that. And bend that knee. We'll use your thighs. We inhale. Come on back up. Toes towards the short end. Nice wide stance as we exhale into a forward fold. And go ahead and bend your knees as you inhale your way up. Exhale, release. Shake out the things. we're going to do a pigeon pose together. If this doesn't feel right, just remember back to the warm-up. We did a reclined pigeon pose. So once we get into this, if you're like, yeah, my knees don't do that, my hips don't do that, something doesn't feel good in this pose, go back to the reclined pigeon pose that we did in the warm-up, where we were laying on our back and we crossed one leg over the other and pulled that thigh towards our center. That's going to give you the same kind of stretch. It's the same thing, it's just a different way of getting there. So again, if this doesn't feel good, don't do this. Go do the reclined pigeon pose. So we're going to get down into tabletop. We're going to bring our right leg in front of our left leg and stretch that left leg out nice and long behind us. Block can go under your right hip. I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm doing with that. So I brought my right leg in front of my left. I went nice and long with my left leg, and then I put this block right under my hip to support it. From here you have options. You can sit where you are. If that is the stretch that feels good in your body, sit right where you are. We can work our way towards the mat. We can come down onto our forearms and sit here on our forearms just like this. Get a nice stretch. And if this feels good and that's where you want to stay, stay there. You can also bring your head to the mat. You can make a nice little triangle for cushioning with your fingers. Bring your head to the mat. You can also bring your head to a block. Put your third eye right on that block. You can keep your arms, forearms nice and flat. You can dial the block wherever it feels comfortable. You want higher, lower, or if the mat feels more comfortable, do what feels good to you. Also remember that each side of your body is different. So if you find right now that your head's down on the low dial of the block like mine is, and you get over into the other side, and this doesn't feel as comfortable and you feel more comfortable on the high side of the block, it's totally okay. Each side of your body is going to be different. Each time you do it is going to be different. Do what feels good. While you're here, don't forget to breathe. We're breathing into that space that we're creating in our hips. Again, at any time, if this doesn't feel right, you can come on up, come out of it. Just sit, find your breath. Do what feels good for you. Honor what your body's saying to you. And on your next inhale, push yourself up from the mat. Or move the block if you've got a block back there. You can use our left toes to push up and come on back up to tabletop. in tabletop, let's just swish our hips back and forth a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So that left leg is going to cross in front of the right leg. We're going to slide the right leg out, walk under our left hip. And take a couple breaths here. And if you feel ready, you can bring your forearms to the mat, forehead to the block, to the mat, whatever feels good on the side of your body. And we're just going to breathe into this space in our left hip that we feel opening. And on your next inhale, go ahead, push your hands into the mat, remove that block, and come on back up to tabletop. And we're going to swish those hips around again. All right. Go ahead and bring your hips back. Widen your knees. Toes can be touching or not. It doesn't really matter. Just bring our hips back. And if we want to put the block under our forehead in this pose, we can. But we're going to just come on down into child's pose. Again, forearms to the mat if you'd like. Stretch them all the way out. Forehead to the mat or to your block. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here. And inhale, come on up. We're gonna go ahead and start our cool down. For the cool down, we're gonna use our strap again. And then from the cool down, which will be on our backs, we're gonna go ahead and go to Shavasana, the rest time from the cool down, because you'll already be on your back. So what I would recommend is your bolster, or if you got the rolled up blanket going for you, just have that in arm's reach before you lie down, as well as your strap, because we're going to use the strap again in our cool down. I'm going to bring my bolster in just to show you when we get into Shavasana. So let's go ahead lie down on our mats. We got our bolster and our strap and arms. Reach. And we're just going to gently come on back down to the mat. I'm trying to remember how far back my head goes in the screen. Okay. So our feet are going to be on the mat. And we're just going to lift them up from there. On an inhale and exhale, let our knees fall off to the side. Now, if this doesn't feel comfortable, this is where your bolster might come in handy. Right under your knees, just like that. If your blocks are handy, your blocks are totally suitable to stick under your knees, or you can stick them between your knees. Whatever feels comfortable here. It's not so much about where your knees are falling. It's more about creating a nice twist in our spine. Just breathing into the space we've created in our ribs. Check in with your shoulders. Both your shoulders should be on the mat. If you'd like, that right arm can be out by your side in the T. It can help balance the legs being twisted off to the left. And if it's not too much, you can also turn your head towards the right shoulder. If you turned your head, let's bring it back to the center. We'll inhale our legs back up, and we're going to exhale them off to the right side. Head back to center. Inhale your legs back up, and exhale, release your feet to the mat. And we're going to do probably what is one of my favorite yoga poses. It's called Happy Baby. And if you're familiar with pose names, you're probably already chuckling to yourself because it really looks ridiculous. But it feels so good. So I'm going to show you how to do it with the strap first. And if the strap works for you, do it with the strap. If not, you can, if your fingers can make it to your toes, then you can just use your hands and your feet. But totally cool if it's the strap is what's working for you today. So we'll bring our feet, both feet, into the strap. Widen our feet nice and wide. Soles of our feet towards the ceiling, bringing your knees towards your armpit, and just using the strap to support your feet up there. And then you can just gently rock back and forth. Gentle movement on your lower back, a little massage there. That's with the strap. If your fingers reach your toes, you can do the same thing. Knees towards your armpits. Soles of your feet towards the ceiling. And just a gentle rock back and forth. A little massage. It's a happy baby rocking back and forth. And when you're done, you can go ahead and release. For Shavasana, if you have a bolster or blanket, I recommend putting it underneath your knees. Let me show you what that looks like before I get myself back to a seated position. There you go. Just get the bolster under your knees, the blanket under your knees, just to support a nice, loose, open, relaxed position. I say that with a caveat, of course, because what feels nice, loose, and relaxed and open to me may not to you. So, that said, you get yourself into that position, and it does not feel all the wonderful things it feels for me, for you, then find a position that does. But right now, we're making our way into Shavasana, lying down, getting comfortable. So once you're there, go ahead and close your eyes or lower your gaze. Bring your legs wide. Allow your feet to flop open. Tuck your shoulder blades slightly underneath you. Bring your arms by your sides. Palms of your hands to your lower belly, below your navel. And tuck your chin just slightly. Make any small movements you need so that you are very comfortable. Take easy, natural breaths through your nose. Bring your awareness to your belly under your hands. Visualize a small point of light beginning to emerge from beneath your hands. As you maintain your focus, you see this light expanding, its dimensions beginning to grow. You see it is starting to form a vibrant ball of radiant orange. From the center of this glowing orb, a lotus flower begins to blossom. As the lotus blooms, you feel the waves of radiant light through your body. Linger in and enjoy the glow. Begin to bring attention to your natural breath. Take a couple of deep inhales and exhales. Bring your awareness to your feet and hands. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Return to any movement that feels good in this moment. Slowly roll to one side and take a few breaths here. When you're ready, return to a comfortable seated position. Join me in bringing your hands to heart center. You can close your eyes or lower your gaze. Together, let's take 3 breaths to honor our mind, body, and spirit connection. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this class. Just wanted to remind you that there are some journal prompts that will be available right after we finish over in the Vagabond Zen group. So if you're not in the group, just click the link. I'll either put it in the comments below or in the header somewhere. And you can join us in the group and get the journal prompts, which would be lovely to work on this afternoon or tomorrow evening with the full moon in Leo that's coming. Again, thank you very much. I hope you have a lovely day.